What a joy to be integral part of this interesting combination of speakers, a team of absolute professional expertise. And we live in a changing world, extraordinary set of changes and challenges we are witnessing in this pandemic. Still, the game is not over. Social impact and allied governance, economic impact and allied governance, human impact, allied risk mapping. And again, when it comes to environmental, is a major issue. As we speak, we have just going through COP26 in Glasgow. Sustainable development goals have been aligned to human dignity and human prosperity. We lost nearly 5 million people. 247 million people were impacted. Qatar itself, we had an impact of 239,000, and we lost 611 people. Vaccine administration has been the key now, and global vaccine costs administered to the number of over 3 billion. And clearly we are seeing that's around 40% of the requirement. Long way to go. Qatar itself administered over 2 million people fully vaccinated. And again, it's over 80% of the eligible population. We have a defining moment. If you look at the changing face of the world, changing face of financial services, extraordinary set of changes have happened. Monetary and fiscal prudence have redefined the game. The world economies are still in tatters. International Monetary Fund has been predicting, redefining their indicators time and again. Last year it was 4 times it was revised downwards. There is a cautious optimism in the changing face of the world, and global economists, IMF says, Mr. Mansoor will elucidate further on the status of the global economy. US Fed action. In fact, today, FOMC meeting has been scheduled as well in the next few minutes. We're going to witness tapering may soon be warranted, and we'll have slowly but steadily aggressive bond buying programs will be constrained in many forms. Let's look at the Federal Reserve's chairman says.
Our asset purchases have been a critical tool. They helped preserve financial stability and market functioning early in the pandemic, and since then have helped foster accommodative financial conditions to support the economy. At our meeting that concluded earlier today, the committee continued to discuss the progress made toward our goals since the committee adopted its asset purchase guidance last December. Since then, the economy has made progress toward these goals. If progress continues broadly as expected, the committee judges that a moderation in the pace of asset purchases may soon be warranted. We also discussed the appropriate pace of tapering asset purchases once economic conditions satisfy the criterion laid out in the committee's guidance. While no decisions were made, participants generally view that, so long as the recovery remains on track, A gradual tapering process that concludes around the middle of next year is likely to be appropriate.
What about the commodity prices? Oil crossed over $80. There are possibilities of touching $100 and over 65% growth year to date. If you look at as on date, OPEC is standstill. We have to see what will be the consequential impact due to the cold winter. And the gas, and again, over 100% growth. Now, natural gas price is about $6. Demand recovery is happening. Again, due to the cold winter, we will have a reflection on the price as well. This is what the reflection in real order in oil.
Due to tight supply and surging demand, oil prices could hit $100 a barrel if this winter is particularly cold. Oil demand could rise by 500,000 barrels per day, which could lead to inflation that slows the global economic recovery. Ji-young tells us more.
A cold winter could lift Brent crude prices to above $100 a barrel for the first time since 2014 as demand continues to outstrip supply. This is according to the Bank of America, which also said that the rising oil prices could lead to an economic crisis. Brent crude futures on Thursday climbed 82 cents or 1% to $84 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures for November delivery also gained 87 cents or 1.1% to settle at $81.31 a barrel. This is the highest figure since October 2014. Goldman Sachs also forecasts that oil could maintain its high price levels for much longer in the years to come. It said as the demand rebounds while supply is at a tight level, the base case is for Brent to reach $90 by the end of this year. The International Energy Agency also said that as heavy industries and the power sector change from more expensive sources of energy, demand is to soar further. It also said that the cold weather could boost oil demand by 500,000 barrels per day. It added that the energy crunch could cause inflation and slow the world's economic recovery from COVID-19.
How about inflation? That's the big challenge, isn't it? Now, we need to understand the surge along with growth, inflation is due. Now, it is transitory or is it not transitory? That's the question. I'm sure the economist will answer to this. Now, we have a reflection of real inflation coming up. That's my personal view. Watch this one.
The other thing I want to ask you about that's a big worry right now is just the cost of living. We're seeing prices go up. Procter & Gamble announced this week toothpaste, basic goods, they're going to have to raise prices there. The Federal Reserve Chair in this country, Jerome Powell, said risks are to longer bottlenecks, higher inflation. How long can this go on before we lose control?
Inflation has indeed come up high in these last several months. Now, some of that was expected after a deep recession last year. We've had a rebound in global demand. We've seen commodity prices come back up after crashing last year. But we're also now seeing the frictions between supply and demand not matching up. We're seeing supply chain disruptions around the world because the fact is that the grip of the pandemic remains, even though maybe it's somewhat lighter, it remains in the world, and that's creating disruptions everywhere. The way we see it is that these pressures will remain until sometime in the middle of next year, and then we should see us returning to more normal levels of inflation towards the end of next year.
So, ESG framework is getting redefined. The reporting standards have been aligned to Sustainable Development Goals. Look at this clip. global wealth is getting redefined. That's what we understand. Instead of shrinking, the wealth soared last year 8.3%. That shows clearly preserving the wealth, protecting the wealth has been the core norm. And that's precisely the reasons we thought it's appropriate to bring in intelligent inputs for you to protect this wealth. Looking at the Gulf states itself, the 6 countries put together in aggregate terms, you will find in the next 3 to 4 years, not less than 3.5% aggregate growth in terms of the sovereign funds. That's what we are witnessing. See my final clip.
We understand that wealth management is a complex industry. Building trust and forming long-standing relationships is key to success. How do you continue to do that in a world where customers are setting the pace and engaging in multiple ways through technology? Multi-channel communication is now essential for attracting, retaining and serving your clients and the generations that follow. The process of signing up new accounts or services must be fast and information accessible anytime, anywhere. Customers want an intuitive mobile experience and access to websites, communities and apps, as well as a personal interaction with their wealth manager. But they're not the only ones. Wealth managers need digital tools that provide them visibility of client information. They want to give customers a seamless, effortless service remotely, but still maintain and nurture individual relationships, providing expert guidance and building long-term financial planning strategies. Technology makes organizing, analyzing and using customer data easier than ever and helps customers to stay informed about their investments, and you stay ahead of the game with customer and industry insight. With our help, you could be more efficient and more profitable without ever compromising on service, while your customers get the knowledge they need to build a stable, secure future for themselves and their families.
That's what it is, stable, secure future.